All right, welcome back, everybody, to Battle of the Best #1 with Forsen versus D2 in our winners finals. So, last match of the day has been a pretty long one, so to speak, and we're getting to see whether or not these guys can go all the way and guarantee themselves a spot in the grand finals tomorrow. Meanwhile, tomorrow we're going to have all the losers bracket play out, as well as the grand finals itself. So, whoever gets to take this match will have a very long nap that they can take. In preparation for tomorrow. They can sit back, relax, watch the series unfold, and just play the grand finals itself. Sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's fun. I'd like that you touch on the idea they get to sleep an extra bit of time too. I think it's really important to not have to fight your way through a couple more rounds before you get started. You just get to relax, do your research that you should be doing, taking notes, and preparing for your next match, because that $1,000 first prize, you want to do a little bit of that research. Make sure you're well rested, etc.
Yeah, definitely. So going into the series, a quick outlook. We have Forsen, who takes the Hunter away from D2, and D2 bans Forsen's Warlock. So we have a Warrior, a Warlock, and a Priest still available for D2, and Forsen gets to bring that Freeze Mage, but he's got some pretty tough matchups in this one. We're going to start off Warrior versus Priest, where I guess you were saying it depends who you're asking and who's well practiced in this matchup to give the person the edge.
Yeah, I think I have to reiterate. Catz once told me that if a Priest player is a Warrior player, but if the person playing Priest is a Warrior player, the Priest has the advantage. Otherwise, the Warrior has the advantage. That's what he once told me. So we'll see how this goes. Forsen, of course, with Fiery Wind Axe straight away. This has always been a difference maker in every single match that we've seen so far. This card of paramount importance. And D2 choosing to keep a Circle of Healing, actually. I find that a little peculiar. Peculiars,
yeah, is the correct
Yeah.
one. Yeah, maybe he feels like that's his best way to start getting his draws, or maybe he feels like it's a good combination if he picks up Injured Blade Master on the next couple of draws. I think that's his best bet.
Choosing to not play Northshire Cleric right away, I have to agree with this too. It's like, this card is so important in this matchup to be able to get the right card draws that you need. Well, he also picks up Injured Blade Master.
That is pretty nasty.
But it's important to not give your Cleric away to a Fiery War Axe. It's like the card that you don't want your opponent to play the most. And then, of course, the card that's also not very good against is Acolyte of Pain. So both of those cards, things that you're worried about from the Priest's perspective. So I really like his hold of Northshire Cleric in this game.
So D2 chooses not to get out ahead of whatever his opponent could drop, most likely the Acolyte on turn 3. Instead, he chooses to save the coin, which the coin for Priest has a lot of value with the Wild Pyromancer. He drops the Dark Cultist instead here, and he's keeping this Injured Blade Master with the Circle of Healing combination, and you can use it with the Northshire on turn 4 to draw some cards. So D2's gamble of picking up and saving the Circle of Healing seems to be paying off right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think the one that's paying off more is holding the Northshire Cleric. That's something I think a lot of people wouldn't have done. Something that I have often not done in the past and paid the ultimate price for.
The ultimate price.
Yeah, the death of my own Northshire Cleric.
All right. Well, Senjin does also help challenge and protect the Injured Blade Master from being able to have too much effect. Man, if D2 had one more mana, he can coin out the Black Knight as well and pick up value there.
Yeah.
But there's 2 Sludge Belchers to follow this up, so still a pretty reasonable situation here for D2.
Yeah, I'm curious to see exactly how he's going to take control of this game. I mean, he's got a lot of cards in his hand that are very valuable. Wow, I'm getting tired. And it's what you need in this matchup, but Forsen's start has been very strong so far. Wind Axe into Acolyte of Pain into Tazdingo. I mean, Tazdingo is something you don't even often see in this deck. I think it's a totally strong turn 4 play. Again, when you're going to be leading into Sludge Belchers and then Legendaries afterwards, you're trying to buy yourself time, but at the same time, these guys just apply pressure to the board. So tough to see where he actually develops an advantage in this game.
Yeah, well, I think getting the Injured Blade Master seems to be his best course of action. Now, fortunately for Forsen, he just got his Execute. So that is one way to deal with this Injured Blade Master, because if he didn't have it, oh, that would have been a nightmare to have to deal with.
Oh my gosh, and a second one right off the bat too. Gets a shield slam too.
All right.
I think this is pretty much just
seems the best course of action.
yeah. I think this is pretty much still the standard spot. You just kill the Northshire cleric, get a Sledge Belcher out, kind of go from there. Really smart to kill it with the axe too, instead of the health on his minion, of course. That way his minion doesn't just die.
Yeah, otherwise the Black Knight would basically control the board here because D2 would be able to snipe off that Sinjin Shield Master. And then there's only a 1-2 to fend off against the 2 really intimidating minions.
Yep. This is actually a little bit tricky. If you choose to play Black Knight here, which one do you Black Knight?
I think you Black Knight the Sludge Belcher, right? That way you can kill off the 1-2 immediately. Oh, okay. Guess Ascension just reduced the power on the board overall. Well,
This is sort of what I was thinking, and like
yeah.
I don't know how much merit there actually is to this. And I guess you do want to kill the token straight away. At the same time, I think he wants to force his opponent to have like an awkward turn to be able to like execute something.
That's true.
So like his opponent would have to attack. Yeah, would have to attack with a Sludge Belcher to actually activate and execute. That has to be what he's playing around. I can't imagine what else it would be. Holy Fire, not a bad one.
And that's another way you can deal with the Sludge Belcher.
Yeah. He's got a Sludge Belcher of his own too.
More.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. He's actually going to use Power Word Shield to deal that extra damage.
Okay, let's see what he draws. Blade Master still doesn't feel like the best answer considering how easy it is for your opponent to potentially sweep you out.
Right. He's going to heal his Black Knight, I think.
I think so too. It's the same. This is the same thing as dropping the Blade Master.
Yep. Forsen. Wow, he draws a second execute too.
Yeah, it's nice.
Definitely execute that Wild Pyromancer. That guy's been spelled trouble all day for people.
Yes.
Very
even
good
though
reason.
even though the Black Knight has slightly more health, or sorry, more attack and more health overall, it's the fact that Pyromancer can let you do weird things.
Yeah. Shadow Word Death, not too bad, but not the best answer to Sylvanas at the moment.
No, not if you want to give away the Black Knight, which you could, but there's many ways to play around the Sylvanas otherwise. But then your follow-up play, are you just dropping a Sludge Belcher and praying? Are you... Oh, Holy Nova. I guess Holy Nova trade into it?
Yeah, this is the other thing I was looking at, is I think that this is probably the best course of action.
Okay.
So,
Sounds
resets the board. Forsen's going to have initiative here, but we'll see how his plays actually pan out. Ragnaros coming down. Ragnaros, I think, is a very big liability to get Shadow Word Death if he plays it. So he wants to wait on the Ragnaros. He wants a chance to actually hit a minion because he's just kind of running low on cards. So his goal with this Sludge Belcher is to try to get to a point where his Ragnaros can actually hit a minion and get value from it.
All right, well, back over in D2's camp. Sludge Belcher doesn't seem to be that big of a threat, honestly.
I agree.
And how do you go about this as well? Sylvanas might be one of your best answers to Warrior, but you know Warriors are running Silence pretty commonly. Do you normally save Sylvanas in this matchup so you can snipe a Legendary, or do you feel like she's more expendable because you have Mind Control and you have other ways to deal with the big creatures?
I think a lot of it depends on like how you feel like the game's flowing. So if you feel like it's going to be kind of a mucky battle, I think it's a good idea to play Sylvanas and kind of force your opponent to deal with it, and then have Shadow Word Death as a follow-up. But you know, one of the big problems with that is if your opponent has a card just like Forsen has, which is Ysera. So if he chooses to Shadow Word Death, it's going to be like a 50-50 scenario a lot of times. Like, do you take Sludge Belcher or do you take Ysera?
Well, Forsen's hovering over this Cruel Taskmaster to potentially trade it to Sylvanas and give away a weak creature. The downside of this, of course, is that he's giving up the rest of his turn. He's got so much mana he won't be using, and he's going for it.
I like Ysera a lot, even though there's a huge risk associated with this. You know, and the times that obviously Sylvanas will take this, I just think it's pretty rare.
Oh
wow,
man, he's got Ysera Awakens.
You know, something that would have been really brutal this turn is Sludge Belcher. I'm sorry, Shadow Madness and the Shadow or Death. That would be a really brutal turn.
I mean, he can still effectively do that if he just Holy Fires and Shadow or Death steals Ysera.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's too many resources being spent?
No, not at all. I think it's exactly what he should do. Attack the Sludge Belcher.
Or even better yet, instead of Holy Fire, you just use Cabal Shadow Priest.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, Cabal Shadow Priest.
Yeah. That seems great.
Be a much better play. The only other benefit, I think, of using the Holy Fire this way is that there's no counter brawl involved.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
What did he want instead?
I don't know.
I mean, he still can do this. Now, I mean, he got the silence, so effectively does the same exact thing.
Yeah. I think it's pretty lucky to pick up that silence, honestly. That's a pretty lucky thought steal. I think that was a pretty big misstep from D2. I mean, he had a guaranteed chance to take Ysera, and instead took a chance to not get it this turn. And you've already seen it execute from your opponent. And Sansa's second shield block, he's not going to be able to shield slam it. A little bit of a miss. I mean, I'm not going to call it a little bit of a misstep. I think that's a pretty big misplay. You had a guaranteed chance to take Sylvanas. I'm sorry, to take Ysera with Sylvanas, and you made one that was a little bit risky. Bit of an oversight. Forsen just going to the dome.
He's got to eventually kill him somehow. He's got Ragnaros and Ysera Awakens. How about that for a clean board? Ysera Awakens, whatever survives. Like, you have Ysera Awakens and you have the weapon. So whatever can survive that 6 damage clear on the board, then you have to use Ragnaros to drop it down and place it on. This is a very strong board sweep that Forsen has here.
Mage features Gromish. 10 damage instead of 8. It's a lot. He's got his own weapon, though.
This is too funny. What if Forsen has Harrison Jones?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised he didn't attack with it, actually. Oh, look at this. Hogger's going to hit the board.
Nah, you just take it with Cabal Shadow Priest and you smack it down.
Yep.
Man. Hogger got wrecked.
There's that Shadow Madness.
Whoa. Yeah, even if he didn't have Cabal Shadow Priest, he still had Shadow Madness, so it wouldn't have mattered.
He's got plays for days.
Oh, there's also some cute plays you can do in the future with D2. He has, and this is his armor up version, he has Dream and Shadow Madness. So if he has, he can use Shadow Madness, attack, and then Dream it back to his hand if he wants to steal something like Sludge Belcher.
Actual Kidnapper.
That's right, it's a 4-mana Kidnapper.
It's funny to me that Kidnapper puts the minion back into your opponent's hand.
Yep.
Or back into your hand, instead of just like taking it from them. That just feels weird to me. Feels the opposite of Kidnapper. He's going to go for damage, though. And this is exactly what he needs to do. He's got to draw something to be able to finish this game. He doesn't attack with the weapon here because he wants to be able to activate Gromish if he draws it. Mind Control gets drawn, though. I don't see another play for Rodan.
Well, if he's afraid of dying to Gromosh, would he just not Shadow Word Death and Sludge Belcher as a way to make himself offended?
Yeah, I mean, your opponent's got 2. This is a really aggressive play. That is a very good point. Yeah, I think it's probably better to go ahead and play around it.
Mind Control Dream? No, it's like, what was the point of it? Like, instead of dreaming or Mind Control, I feel like the same exact thing can be done, but you just Shadow Word Death and then dream it.
I think you're right. I think you're supposed to Shadow Word Death and then drop the Sludge Belcher and heal yourself.
But then on the flip side, Forsen still can kill him because he's got Iron Beak Owl. Doesn't matter.
You know, that actually may be the reason why Iron Beak Owl is a lot better in here than Spellbreaker 2 is, to allow that turn 10 to be the case, because so many times you have Grommash in your hand, your opponent's got a Sludge Belcher out or some other sort of taunt.
This is highly amusing. If Forsen gets Grommash, that's it for game 1.
Oh my gosh. This draw is so important for him. He's just completely out of gas too.
Nope, shield block.
Oh, it was a shield block. He grabbed it so fast I thought it was a Grommash.
Oh man. Well, he's gotten through the taunts. Now it's all about whether or not he can get the damage in. D2 has the worst responses ever. He can take that Iron Beak Owl and work for him. Wow.
I think he just used the weapon.
Yeah, I guess.
Let the 1 health trigger it.
So.
Do you just Holy Fire, actually, just to try to keep out of Grommash range? That's like one of the only things you die to.
Yeah, that's true. Wouldn't be the worst play.
You could abduct the owl too. Shadow Medicine attack for 2. Dream it.
Then,
Kobe.
yeah, you still nice. You still even have mind control for whatever big creature comes out, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're in an okay spot to Holy Fire this 2-1.
Yeah, I'm still in the Holy Fire camp. I mean, if you're gonna play around Grommash, I think you should continue to play around Grommash.
Kill it with fire. Boom.
Yeah, valuing the ability to pay more life total to use that weapon too. I like that. If you're gonna Holy Fire anyway, I like that play.
Now, but he still has Grommash for the finish because he has Cruel Taskmaster. Oh, never mind.
Wow, picks up another weapon though.
Ah, that's interesting. But now he can't pop it. He can't do. Oh, never mind. He says Cruel Taskmaster. I was supposed to say he can't enrage Grommash, but he's still got the activator.
He's building some
quite a
armor
tight
too.
game.
So like, even if D2 is able to kind of take control of this, like he's still got to find a way to actually kill him. And Forsen is he's going above the 30 life point.
Oh man, he's got so many weapons. You might just kill him with weapons alone. No
if you just
way.
Reckless Rocketeer, it's really bad for D2. Oh, Ysera. Well,
Ysera's something to do.
There is, obviously he's still a little bit worried about Grommash, but I think if your opponent didn't play it last turn, they probably just don't have it.
But Forsen is what, 10 cards left in his deck? He's still got a 10% chance to draw.
Yep.
A little freeze on my end. I don't know what's happening. Yep. Oh no, the stream's dropped.
Panic
Not
basket.
Like this.
Panic basket.
I think Grommash is the only out for Forsen here. Granted, he still has a couple of turns until D2 manages to be able to threaten to kill him.
Yep.
Oh man, still laggy and choppy on our end. Apologies once more for some technical issues, as a D2 stream seems to be crapping out on us, but it looks like the game is over. But who did it end for?
Yeah,
it has to be for Forsen.
I think that had to be a disconnect.
No way.
I think that was a disconnect. Well, think about it.
Well, I thought maybe Forsen drew Grommash. And
that's a
killed
possibility
D2,
as well.
And then it's just like it doesn't matter. Because D2, no way he could kill Forsen. Forsen wouldn't quit like that, right? Just because he saw Ysera.
Oh, there's no reason to quit like that. I mean, you have plenty of life. You still can draw Grommash. I don't think 2 turns passed and one drastic draw happened like that. I think there was a lot more to it than that. Looked like a disconnect to me. We're gonna try to get word from this. In the meantime, let's drool over how much Grommash would have been a sweet top deck if you're a Forsen fan.
Oh my God, he got Grom. All right, now that we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
That's true. He was 1-off lethal and he just forfeited from that point on, or he actually misclicked and he ran into Ysera. Who knows?
Yeah, the old misclick concede. That's a possibility. Think about it.
Oh, so it was a win for Forsen. Oh, that's just a little disappointing. We technically don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
If it was Grommash, maybe Forsen has Leroy in the deck and we're just unaware.
Looks to me like this was a disconnect scenario, but we're going to continue to await word on this. And
I think it was a disconnect, though. It's still really difficult to say who would win. right? Because you
Yeah,
don't know if Grommash is the last card, and Forsen can't win from that point.
Yeah, typically in tournament scenarios like this, the rule is that a disconnect will result in a loss for the disconnected player.
Right.
Almost no exception.
Well,
if you have exceptions to that sort of rule, that's when things start to get shaky. It's because if a player's about to lose, you can just disconnect and you go, "Oh, I could have won." Remake the game.
Yeah.
So
the exception most likely will be left up to Forsen if that's the case. Where if he feels like D2 is so far ahead, he can get the win. But
yeah,
I don't know. Has it been ruled a disconnect?
We're getting word that Forsen is declared the winner of this game. We don't know if he actually won by a Grommash or not. We actually just now got word it was a DC scenario. So
oh wow,
D2 disconnected, and in the tournament rules state that in the instant of a disconnect, the disconnected player loses the game. So Forsen is actually going to win this game 1-0.
Wow.
Different kind of RNG.
Tilting.
Yeah. Very different kind of RNG. But, it's still pretty up in the air. Forsen's had a lot of turns to draw Grommash, and anything still could happen in that game. D2 had a lot of work to do before he had whittled down Forsen's 50-ish point life total. That's a lot of turns to do. So, unfortunate for D2, but it's going to be a loss this game. So Forsen's going to take the series. Now going to go up in the series 1-0, and possibly another lineup swap. Both of these guys were swapping lineups early in the tournament, so no surprise to see them in the winners final so far. I think both of them utilizing it very well.
Yeah, I think so. D2 now has to go to another deck, but as long as Forsen can avoid really bad matchups, like this warrior can be problematic for Forsen. If the warrior manages to square off against the hunter and the freeze mage from Forsen, then that might be a really bad scenario. So Forsen wants to line up accordingly. I think he stays on warrior most likely. Do you feel or do you think he's switching to hunter?
It's tough to say, honestly. You kind of hit the nail on the head. He doesn't want to run both of his hunter and his mage into the warrior deck, so I'd like to see him stick with warrior in that scenario.
Oh, he's going hunter.
Yeah, swaps. So the other side of this coin too is that if he runs one of these decks into warrior, he can just fall back on warrior and go from there. But I think he was thinking that D2 was just going to lead Handlock here. I mean, it's the only way that this makes any sense. Aside from the scenario where it's you don't know what he's going to lead and you think it's likely that he'll lead either one, so you play hunter into him. And if hunter gets picked off by the warrior deck, you can still fall back to warrior and have mage in reserve for the Handlock deck, which is traditionally a pretty good matchup for freeze mage.
All right,
Big start. D2 though. Wow, look at this hand.
He's got a way to chop stuff up.
Back to work. And the fire to win axe. How do you come back from this one?
Well,
I think Oasis Snapjaw is the answer.
Oh, he's got Undertaker. So that helps him reevaluate to potentially buff up with the Hunter Keeper next turn.
Snake Trap is not too good in this matchup a lot of times because the presence of cards like Whirlwind or Unstable Ghoul. This is another one of the matchups. Druid and Warrior are the two matchups where I think that Snake Trap can be just a true liability. That's not always the case, but sometimes it is, and this is one of those scenarios.
Well, interestingly enough, he's still got awkward ways to deal with this Undertaker. He's got the War Axe, and then from that point on, just continue to push, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would like to see him trigger this trap in some way, of course.
Do you want to deny the Houndmaster? Or no, you can't deny the Houndmaster, no matter how you look at it, right?
No, you definitely cannot deny a Houndmaster this turn, but I don't think it matters much again because you just have the Snake Trap out, you have Fiery War Axe, you have Shield Slam in your hand. You kind of have all the tools necessary to actually deal with it. So this Cruel Taskmaster is going to be hitting this, and so this board's going to be reset. And I think this is pretty heavily in D2's favor at this point. He's going to come out of this board position with a Fiery War Axe. I actually really like his attack on the Snake here too. In the event that this gets silenced, he's basically he's drawn an extra piece from his opponent's board. So I think it's a pretty heads up play. The 1 damage is inconsequential, I think.
Which do you like more though? It's just Snapjaw.
Now's the time. When else are you gonna get value out of this bad boy? 2/7. Getcha. That's a hero power every game, or every turn for the rest of this game. It's not dying.
This is before a potential chance that your opponent has the ability to respond easily, right? Because
Yeah.
no warrior's running Kodo, and even if he
Not only
was,
that-
it's turn 4.
Yeah, not only that, but like, who wants to kill an Oasis Snapjaw?
It just takes so much resources, dude. You need a Gore Howl bat, and even if you Gore Howl, you barely kill it.
Now the
You
trade-off
have
of
like
that
the
is that,
legendary weapon on your side. Wow.
oh, he makes a Huffer too. That's pretty important. And second Snake Trap. Wow, I'm really surprised he doesn't play the second Snake Trap here. Like, you know that the Huffer is going to get attacked so often.
Well, not in this scenario. Hopper gets picked off.
I mean, well, even here, he's just going to attack your Mad Scientist if he gets picked off, right?
True. That is also true.
Yeah, I really think Snake Trap is superior here.
Well, you played Mad Scientist instead of Snake Trap, so you consciously made the decision where you might be able to pick off the Huffer, but...
Fair enough.
Oh, okay.
Wow, going to Shield Slam instead. That's pretty bold. Oh, it's because he wants to silence Mad Scientist. Okay.
That's pretty strong, too. You get a reasonable minion that can answer this Oasis Snapjaw.
In a mere 2 turns.
Oh, but another trap. Or, sorry, another Mad Scientist with another trap. That complicates things a lot.
Yep.
Man, Gore Howl could not come faster.
Oh, get him, Snapjaw. Punish him. Look at that 2 damage. So now, so this is, of course, tipping off D2 to the fact that this is Snake Trap. And so he's just going to jam down Sylvanas. I think he feels really comfortable actually racing his opponent. In this scenario, you have 9 damage on the board to your opponent's 4. You have Alex Strauss on hand, and you have multiple damage enhancers or even something that starts swinging the board back in your favor again. Oh, there's another trap. That is likely Freezing Trap.
Interesting.
We haven't seen an explosive trap all tournament.
Right. And no one's playing Sniper Misdirection as far as I know. Well, now he has to make a conscientious choice on how he wants to deal with this Snapjaw. Does he give him another Unleash the Hounds? Unleash the Snakes.
Gosh, I don't know. How much merit is there just attacking your opponent's face? Like just...
And what, are you using Alex Strauss defensively?
Eventually,
Sylvanas.
yes. Like what I'm looking at is like Cruel Taskmaster onto something, and then hope that doesn't get through an attack though. Now, this is tough.
The problem is the Freezing Trap, right?
Yeah, the freezing trap is super important here.
Oh man, he's gonna pop it first, and it is the Freezing Trap.
The other thing you can do here too is you can attack with Deathbite this turn and armor up, and you attack his face. And then the next turn, you can attack the Oasis Snapjaw to trigger the snakes. And pick off everything that way.
True.
Gosh, Forsen's put together a pretty decent amount of damage here, but he doesn't have any cards left. So if his draws are impeccable, like Lotheb, he can put together a series here.
It's probably his next best option after Highman.
Yeah. This Lotheb is very often going to get attacked by the Gore Howl, but the point is that it's actually dealing 5 points of damage.
Mm-hmm. While locking out other potential spells that can complicate things.
Oh my gosh, if he drew King Crush.
If he drew King Crush.
Off the web spinner.
Is that the game?
Well, it'd be 11 points of damage. D2 would take 5, so he dropped to 9. Oh, it's an 8-8. No, it's only 10 points of damage.
Well, he can't develop anything on the board other than the Cruel Taskmaster. If this is King Crush, though, still big plays will happen.
Yeah, it's still a ton of damage.
Wow, that is great Deathbite value, too.
What does he get? Oh,
it's Silverback Patriarch.
The next best thing.
Close to King Crush, but not quite.
Armor up. Armor up is smart here, too, because otherwise he would just die to kill command.
Yep.
So he's playing around potential top deck outs. Forsen draws
Knife
Knife
Juggler,
Juggler.
Silverback Patriarch time. Wow,
Yeah,
you know the
splits
Silverback
it up.
Patriarch is totally trolling this Fiery War Axe. Oh my goodness.
Come at me, bro.
You have to Alex Strauss yourself.
Oh, yeah. I think this is definitely an Alex Strauss turn.
There's no alternative.
Well, you could Shield Block. I mean, Shield Block will keep him alive for another turn. So, like, he could Cruel Taskmaster and then Shield Block and Armor Up.
Maybe.
I like Alex Strauss a lot better, though. Heads up play to attack first also. Gets an extra point of life that way. Haunted Creeper drawn.
Creeper. I mean, it's just one card closer to getting a kill command, perhaps.
Ooh, he needs that juggle to the face, too. He needs every point of damage he can get at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is really about to turn around.
Ooh, execute.
Picks up Execute for the Oasis Snapjaw. Yeah, this is about to get ugly.
Yeah, that shield block was so key.
Yep.
Shutting out Forsen from being able to find the reaching damage. He needed that Haunted Creeper to be something else.
For
Something
sure.
that's not Haunted Creeper. I bet his next card is an Undertaker, too. Good measure. I think so.
Now it's gonna be the kill command.
It's the... Oh!
Ooh, Eagle Horn Bow. That's
Eagle Horn
still
Bow.
pretty good. I don't know if it's gonna be able to get the job done here. He's got to race against, you know, his opponent. His opponent has a 2-turn clock right now, so
Right.
8 points going up to potentially 10. Oh, that's a shutout draw.
Book him.
Yeah, that's gonna seal the game. There are no cards left in Forsen's deck that are gonna be able to get him out of this. That is too much damage. This axe is going to the dome, too. Bam.
Well,
Oh, that beautiful bean footage. That was an error. That ain't no error. That's exactly how you should have done it. Yeah. there's
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. He draws
Forsen
Leroy
has
Jenkins
Leroy.
at the end.
that's too bad. I mean, I don't think Leroy last turn would have been the difference maker because his opponent was at, what, 14 plus? But having Leroy in the previous turns when he needed it
Yeah, for sure.
would have been maybe the answer he needed. So, D2 levels up to 52 with his Warrior. And Forsen will have to go to another deck. That Warrior deck staying alive for D2 is, again, problematic because I feel like Forsen will have to pick the Warrior. But, of course, this is where D2 has a choice now, right? If he chooses the Warlock to switch, then that might give Forsen the flexibility of inserting his Freeze Mage there. But, you know, it depends, again, how D2 is building his deck. Did we find out if it's Handlock or if it's Zoo?
I'm pretty sure it's Handlock.
Okay. We saw
Actually,
Handlock in the qualifiers, but
no,
his
it got
previous
banned.
series it was banned, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't actually remember. I'm pretty sure it was banned.
Okay.
Almost
So
100%.
yeah, so we don't know what this Warlock is exactly, but our hunch is that it's a Handlock.
Correct.
Okay. So if it's Handlock, that puts him in a pretty decent spot. I mean, if his Handlock has Ragnaros, then it's pretty strong against Freeze Mage as long as you have a way to pressure.
Yeah, that's really the issue, is being able to actually pressure your opponent, because you're relying on like 1 or 2 mid-game minions to be able to get a lot of work done. So Freeze Mage has plenty of time to establish its hand and find enough freezes to be able to make a big difference in this. So we just got word D2 is going to switch his deck. So Forsen, if he does not queue up Mage here, this could be problematic, I think.
Well,
We're gonna
yeah, the
find-
Freeze Mage is going to get shut down by the Warrior for sure.
Yeah. I think it's pretty tough to queue in Freeze Mage here, but I don't know. I think maybe just risk it. Because either way, if you lose with a Warrior versus Handlock, you're going to have to run the Freeze Mage out there anyway. So Freeze Mage is going to have to beat Warrior no matter what. So I think your best chance to run into Handlock is actually probably right here.
But then your opportunity to take out the Handlock is much greater than I feel like the Freeze Mage has a better chance against Handlock than Warrior does.
Sure, but the Freeze Mage isn't going to beat the Warrior deck. That's really where my concern is because, like, let's just say that your opponent runs out Warrior and you run out Warrior. Well, if you win, you're in fantastic shape, and if you lose, you're basically in the same position of whether or not you lead Mage here, because Mage is going to have to beat Warrior no matter what in that circumstance. But if you lead Mage here and your opponent leads Handlock, you never have to play again. You never have to beat the Warrior deck with Freeze Mage in that scenario. Like, even if you lose, now you have to 2-0 with Warrior. But in a certain light, like, you lead out Warrior and your opponent leads out Warrior also, like, and you lose that matchup, now you have to beat Warrior with Freeze Mage.
Well, D2 chooses to go for Warlock, which Forsen recognizes this is his only chance to use Mage, and that's what he wants.
Yep. Isn't going to keep Doomsayer. Oh, he is going to keep Doomsayer.
Yeah. Doomsayer is really effective at disrupting the Handlock's turn 4 play. So you drop it on turn 3.
D2 kept Mortal Coil. Does he not know what Forsen's playing?
No, that can't be right. He knows it's for the Novice Engineer. Check this out.
he just knows it's for Novice Engineer, and he's like, ha, I got him.
Yep.
Just the old get ya.
See?
Yeah, I don't know if I buy that. I think he forgot.
I got D2's back.
I'm just gonna say that it is 9 a.m. in Japan right now, and he didn't just wake up. He's been up the entire night. So,
right.
I mean, understandable. Some of the plays he's been making. It's just you can't focus for that long. Your brain doesn't work that way. I'm not even playing this long.
All he has to do is, Forsen opting immediately Arcane Intellect. I guess he's okay with just using Doomsayer perhaps because he has Frost Nova already and he wants to draw cards on curve. But generally speaking, to time it so that way you can force your opponent to miss off their 4-drop is usually the ideal way to use the Doomsayer in the beginning of the game.
He gets to drop either Loot Hoarder and Doomsayer or Mad Scientist and Doomsayer or just Mad Scientist and Loot Hoarder.
Oh.
So yeah, he's definitely going to be saving the freeze for a big Doomsayer turn, hoping his opponent doesn't have an owl.
I wonder if this can bait out the owl beforehand.
I mean, that's probably part of what he's trying to do. But at the same time, he obviously he would rather freeze and multiple minions in Doomsayer, multiple minions rather than just have it just get run into and then Soulfire or something like that. D2, excellent foresight here, just going to make sure that these minions are not actually dealing damage to him. This is a really tricky matchup too, because the other thing is Handlock has to pay so much life just to actually get its game plan rolling, and Mage is just a burn deck, so there's just so much available to be able to pressure your opponent with. Did Forsen get a secret from that?
He did. He got Ice Block apparently, because he attacked in as Ice Barrier still is able to be played.
Okay, I see. Yeah, this is tough. If you just suicide your minions, keep going.
Do you feel like you can expend a Fireball to push through?
I don't know. I don't know how much that's worth. Oh, he's gonna freeze Doomsayer here. Okay.
Interesting. So then why did he sacrifice his Novice Engineer?
Well, he ran the Novice Engineer in, I think, so that when this Doomsayer gets silenced, he can respond with Fireball if he needs to. And at the same time, when the Loot Hoarder dies, he's going to draw a card from it anyway.
Sure. But your opponent can respond with an Earthring Farseer, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't think you have a way to prevent that regardless. So I think he's just fine with it. Like, he anticipates his Novice Engineer dying here anyway.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what I think. It makes sense to me. How do you follow this up, though? Do you even want to play anything here? Do you even want a life tap?
Maybe Ancient Watcher's okay.
Yeah, if you're gonna life tap, you're definitely playing Ancient Watcher. I don't know if life tapping is the best option though. I mean, maybe he just has to keep digging and trying to put together enough damage to push for the win.
Yeah, one thing I do like is holding on to LeaseWeb for as long as possible until you know you can shut out your opponent. you press for a pop and you Loatheb, or you play it post Alex Strauss and buy yourself more time.
Oh, Forsen draws another Doomsayer. There's a second Ice Lance.
Mind control tech.
Oh my gosh, this could be huge.
Oh,
Okay, well he takes a
right.
Sunfury Protector, but still not
Okay.
bad. I mean, that's actually a pretty decent play.
Yeah, if he took the... Yeah, I guess Ancient Watcher isn't helpful whatsoever, other than the fact that it's one less target to potentially taunt up / silence and push, so...
Yeah.
I think that's the next best result after Twilight Drake.
Now, if you're D2, are you concerned with these minions actually attacking your minions, or are you just pushing for damage at this point? Like, is Flame Strike on your radar?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Flame Strike annihilates you. Oh,
Wow, look
big
at
game
this.
Hunter. But then that
Flame
makes you
Strike's on
vulnerable to Alex Straza.
I was gonna say, if Flame Strike's on your radar, how much are you thinking about using Loatheb here instead? This is gonna trade into, yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one.
He just wants as much pressure as possible.
How much
He
damage
feels
is
like
Forsen
big game
doing?
Hunter.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He's got 17 points next turn. Wow, a life tap here could just be, I mean, it could be game ending.
Well, he actually doesn't have anything else to do unless he wants to use Loatheb here, which isn't a very powerful play at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is one of the reasons why this matchup is so poor, by the way. It's just like, again, D2 is going to be relying on like mid-game minions, and the Freeze Mage is just, like, it wants to buy time to the mid-game.
Tap.
If he does
He needs
not
to
siphon,
Loatheb. Yeah,
if he doesn't siphon life
or
or Loatheb. I don't know if he's thinking about that. If Forsen's scrolling over his cards that much, it may tip him off to something. Oh, he's going to push for damage. That looks like lethal to me. 6 + 3 + 4 + 4. What does that equal?
16.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Looks like 17 to me.
17 damage.
Which in this scenario is basically infinity. Forsen has infinity damage.
Close enough.
And that's going to do it.
I was just trolling you because you kept saying 17 like 3 times in a row, and you're like, oh, he's got 17. Fireball, and he drew an extra point of damage anyways with Frostbolt in case the turns went past that way. So Forsen is going to go up to a 2-1 lead, and this Freeze Mage has served its purpose. It's positioned Forsen in the best scenario possible because we know what's going to happen next if D2 has an opportunity to play Warrior against Freeze Mage. This is going to come down to a Game 5 equivalent for these two players. Whoever wins this Warrior Mirror is going to be basically winning the series, I feel.
Forsen should, I think, just play Freeze Mage here again and just at least try to get a free win. Maybe he hasn't seen everything from D2's deck yet, so he can get a little bit more information as well. And I think you definitely don't want to be playing your last game as Freeze Mage versus Warrior, just from a confidence standpoint. So here I would like to see him not switch. I would like to see him try to dig for a little bit more information. And then maybe sometimes he just gets a win with his Mage deck. This is a pretty terrible matchup, I think, from a Freeze Mage's perspective.
10%
so
of the
much
time.
armor. Yeah, so much armor is able to be acquired that they can just put themselves out of range of actual Alex Straza plays, even. But we have seen there is Archmage and there is Pyroblast in this deck, though. That's a little bit more reach, I think, than you normally see in these decks.
That's true. I do feel like with Nax Rammus, though, that's even more problematic than before. Like, the matchup was bad pre-Nax Rammus, but with Loatheb out, like, the Mad Scientist doesn't help you that much in the Freeze Mage department.
Sure.
And Loatheb, even Sludge Belcher to an extent, it's so resilient against a lot of what you do.
Yep.
Like, it's out of Flame Strike range. Doomsayer still leaves behind a minion with Sludge Belcher, so overall, I feel like Control Warrior is even more favored against Mage than before pre-Nax Rammus.
Right. I have to agree with you. Well, the other thing, too, is that Warrior decks have just gotten more aggressive. So, in addition to the armor being a problem, they'll also end the game sooner.
Right. Death Spite.
Yeah. A lot more damage potential output from the Warriors. So definitely not a a good position for the freeze mage.
Sure.
But again, this is just try to get your free win. You're going into your last match with confidence, and it's a mirror match. This is one of those matchups that you actually just kind of expect to lose.
Well, maybe mind control tech can turn some heads.
Yeah, maybe that's the tech you needed.
Yep. The more I play Freeze Mage 2, the more I feel like people who play against it should never use Sylvanas. Because Sylvanas is a way to give away the board. Like, all you have to do is fireball her when you have Doomsayer, and then you guarantee pop her.
Oh, wow. I've never run into that. I'm not a big Freeze Mage player.
Oh,
and
I did it against Gar the other day. He was like, "Oh my god, the plays!" And I'm like, I can't take credit. I read it that somebody pointed out that like it should have happened in the Seed Story Cup. But, yeah, it's clever though, right?
Raynad invented that play, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. In fact, actually, Raynad had the opportunity to do it, and he did it. So.
Whoops.
Yep.
Definitely did it first. Acolyte of Pain, no question about this. This immediately threatens your opponent's loot hoarder. And extra cards is something that you don't really want to give the warrior in this position. So he's actually going to Frostbolt straight away. This is showing like kind of how desperate this matchup actually is. He feels necessary to get repetitive damage from this loot hoarder, and also to prevent his opponent from drawing shield blocks as long as he can. And wow, look, DTwo also picks up Armor Smith to go along with this. It's going to be a pretty tough game for Forsen. He doesn't have any card draw in his hand yet either. He picks up Arcane Intellect though. Yeah, definitely using that one. Putting together a few tools to be able to pressure his opponent, but nothing really significant. So this is just a battle of him actually having to deal with these small minions at some point. So Frost Nova, pretty dead card. Doomsayer, also a pretty dead card. So if this Doomsayer triggers on the Armor Smith and the Cruel Taskmaster, it's great, but D2 gets a perfect draw. There's not many better answers to Doomsayer in this warrior deck than a 4/3 body that also silences. And I think one of the only ways that he's actually going to lose this game is if he just kind of draws blank for the rest of the game and Forsen can perfect him. Look at this board.
Yeah, the Armor Smith is so valuable. But at the same time, it's not even just the Armor Smith. The fact that he has a shield block to gain life. He's got ways to start pressuring too with a decent amount of board. It's all right. It's looking good. The nice thing though is Forsen does have flame strikes.
Yeah.
So.
D2 is going to test for all kinds of secrets here. I mean, he's going to get the word pretty quickly that it's just I spare your nice block.
All right.
But no reason not to play around him if you can. I mean, he's got the ability to do it. And something else to keep in mind is he's seen mind control tech this series already.
Ooh, you're right.
How much does he want to play into this board? Like this is something that's actually kind of really strange. Is typically warrior can just continue to extend the board and not worry much about it. And not that mind control tech is really going to do a lot in this position, but it could.
Takes away the Armor Smith.
Yeah.
The
thing about this play is like it's kind of like a twofold effect. It's like, well, if I'm going to extend, I might as well go the full way. And that plays right into Flame Strike, which Forsen's actually running 2 copies of. So a bunch of armor given to his opponent, but that's just the price you got to pay to not die. Oh my gosh.
He got 5 life from that. Oof.
Gonna continue to armor up.
All right.
Steel block happening as well. Forsen has picked up Alexstrasza, and he does have Pyroblast too. So I mean, this is not unwinnable from Forsen's perspective. He's got a lot of work to do. This is definitely an uphill battle, but not lost by any means. I'd actually like to see him just play the mind control tech here.
Well, let's see what he draws first.
If he doesn't pick up anything better, of course.
Yeah, he's got alternatives. Anyway, he can start chipping away at that armor.
More than happy to do so. Look at that weapon damage too. So much of it.
Brawl.
D2's actually going to brawl here. Wow, I'm very surprised by that.
That is interesting. But I mean, if the Doomsayer survived, that would have been pretty epic. Okay, Shield Slam on the 2/1. That is how much he's valuing his life total right now.
Yeah.
That dude. Oh my god.
Well, he's got Duplicate. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and he picks up Archmage. So now he can just
That's
wait
too
until he gets
bad.
a bunch of 1-mana spells in his hand too.
Right.
Kind of go from there. I think he's fine picking up the loot hoarders because his main goal right now is just to continue to dig into his deck and find exactly what he needs. So, and he's already seen a brawl from his opponent, so now he feels free to extend into the board.
That's true.
Forsen's actually putting together a troublesome combination here for D2.
And he has 2 duplicates, right? Or is there 1? Because if he had 1 duplicate, he can guarantee it without Antonitis. But this whirlwind is nice.
Man, Drew Whirl. He definitely. I think he should. He should slam here first, right?
Yep.
It's good to see
Yeah, he's not
Oh,
gonna do
well.
it.
Pull up a chair by the hut.
Still has availability to no, I guess it doesn't really matter.
That is. D2's playing pretty quickly here, and what's happening is, he feels a little bit of pressure from Forsen, and it's making him play a lot quicker. In addition to that, he's also very fatigued again. At close to 10 a.m. there, he's been up all night playing these matches. Forsen gonna begin the armor shred, and it starts with a pyroblast. He wants to make sure this Alexstrasza is as safe as possible when he plays it.
Not gonna be possible though.
Not quite yet. Sludge Belcher may have a thing or two to say about that, though.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Sludge can get some more pressure on this. He did play a second Mad Scientist, right? So he still only has 1 secret up, which has to be Ice Block by now. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, he's got 1 ice block left. So there's Alexstrasza. This is gonna bite the dust to shield slam. But the other thing this is doing is this is kind of opening the way for Forsen to play potentially an Archmage and a couple of spells afterwards. He's gonna drop Loatheb simply because he's got nothing else to do. But you know, this I feel like that D2 is actually under some pretty significant pressure here.
All right, so he's got 2 Sludge Belchers.
Wow, what a good draw! I think it's pretty close to exactly what he wanted. Oh, and there's Ragnaros.
Oh, that's a problematic card though. Ragnaros is really strong pressure against Freeze Mage because they don't have Polymorph in their deck usually. How else are you supposed to remove it other than straight damage? And that damage you need to direct at your opponent.
Yep. So at this point, he's going to really have to be waiting until he puts together enough spells to try to chain off of Archmage and go from there.
All right, well, this is damage to the face, which is good for Forsen. Damage onto Loatheb as well.
Is he
D2
executing
tempted to
here?
execute.
No.
No,
Yeah,
he
I
knows
don't-
he
I
needs to
don't
save
think
it.
Yep.
He needs to save it.
Loatheb going to bite the dust here no matter what Ragnaros hits. I think Forsen's hoping it hits him, but not today. All right, so he does have an answer to this, though. D2 is actually pretty much out of stuff at this point.
Oh, he's got Frostbolt with the Ice Lance. That's some reach damage
Wow.
right there.
He's going to go for it. That slam being held, by the way, to activate that execute is actually pretty huge.
Right, because now he guarantees kills it.
Yeah. Forsen, I don't want to say he's out of this game, but he's certainly got an opportunity to win. I'm sorry, I don't want to say D2's out of this game, but he's certainly he's got a chance to lose this game. I said it completely backwards, probably 4 times there.
I understood perfectly what you meant, buddy. Ragnaros gonna hit Forsen back down to 11. Forsen doesn't have second ice block, right? How much damage can he pair together? He's got 13 this turn.
Yeah.
But he's also got Blood Mage Thanos.
Yeah, he's got 14 this turn potentially. I think you jam the Blood Mage down and go for it. Because the other thing you want to do is because your opponent wants to actually kill this Blood Mage, but as killing this Blood Mage, they give you another card, and you need to find 1 more burn spell to try to push through your opponent. Oh no! Don't play that! Don't play that! Oh no!
He wants it to be another Ragnaros target.
Oh, he picks up another Fireball too. If he had played Fireball here instead of the Novice Engineer, this Fireball would basically be lethal, like just no matter what. So in this position, D2 now, he's got to think about whether he wants to clear this board or not. And it looks to me like he cannot pop this Ice Block this turn.
He doesn't have a choice. Well, he can.
Well, he can with a Ragnaros hit, but he's 1 damage off being able to actually pop the block this turn.
Here's the problem, too. 8 health is still not like a guarantee of anything, right? So say this Ragnaros somehow drops because the Doomsayer, like the Doomsayer pops, you pop the ice block. He still had 8 health. You don't have a way to kill him the next turn, even if it like worst case scenario happens.
It depends on how you develop.
I mean, D2 has to
Play the Gorehowl.
play the Gorehowl, drop Armor Smith. Is that the same? Does that do anything even? No, because the Doomsayer might live, or the Doomsayer might kill everything and it won't live.
Yeah, so you can put Gorehowl into the Doomsayer too, but then you're... Yeah, I actually think that's probably the best play. Probably Gorehowl into the Doomsayer, 3 to the face, and then hope that Ragnaros hits your opponent's face. I think that's probably your best sequence. But then if he does that and he doesn't kill the Blood Mage, he's running out of time too. This is something's got to happen.
Yep. I think you're right. I think you called it exactly. Oh, he's going to put it into the Blood Mage immediately.
I think that still gives Forsen enough time.
Right, because now the ice block won't pop. The ice block won't pop no matter what. And he's got 18 damage spread over 2 turns. Oh, but fatigue damage. Does fatigue damage come into play at all?
Well, he's not going to draw enough cards for that to matter. And there's a second block.
Oh, second
Not sure
ice block.
That is.
Wait, does D2 have Alex Straza?
I think Alex is still an out for him. He can draw Alex and go for this. I mean, Forsen's play is set in stone. You're dome in the face, you're dome in the face, you're dome in the face. And then you pass and hope for the best. So D2, he's got shield block to get out of this. He's got potentially away. And look at this. Forsen's going to force him to use the Gorehowl to trigger this if he wants to. Forsen's trying to draw a point of damage off of this Novice Engineer with the Gorehowl. Because he wants him to attack the Novice Engineer with the Gorehowl to get an extra point of damage, and then the Ragnaros will guarantee pop the block that way. Like he's hoping his opponent makes that mistake. Yeah.
That was clever. Also, he saves damage too. So that way Alex Straza... I don't actually even know anymore. I don't think that even matters.
No.
That's really clever what you just said.
Yeah, D2 needed to draw an out here.
Well, yeah, of course. But D2 still can pop with just Gromosh. So he just pops, right?
Yeah,
he pops and locks from that point on.
And then Forsen drops it.
Forsen is about to drop the mic and advance to the grand finals.
Unbelievable. This matchup is so unfavorable in the Mage's perspective. And Forsen has put together a winning combination with more than enough damage to kill his opponent. And is going to take this series 3 games to 1. And he's out of cards in the process.
He's going to Ice Lance himself.
Ice Lances himself and overkills his opponent. GG. What a game to finish. This is the best game of the day so far.
Yeah, that was well played. And Forsen punches his ticket to top 2, guaranteeing himself a finish here. And I think what comes down for Forsen was being able to maximize his damage points as much as he can. D2 armored up so often, too. Do you remember the mid-game where he just kept hitting hero power nonstop? Like back to back to back to back. So D2 played as best as he can in the condition. Just, it felt like Forsen had a small little window of opportunity. And of course, D2 didn't have the perfect response either. If he got Alex Straza as his last card that he drew right there, that still would have been the game for him.
Fatigue, I think, is a little bit of potential there. Some of the mid-game missteps, playing a bit more aggressively, I think, on minions than he should have. I mean, at one point, he did pay 3 life that he didn't need to pay on a mind control tech. He could have just slammed and had a whirlwind finish it off, and he chose to use a weapon instead. Like that could have been
was the reason he was able to kill off the Antonidas.
That's true, but not only did the damage matter on Forsen's face, but the amount of life that he had also could have potentially mattered. So it's just, but again, it's like 10 a.m. for that guy. He's been playing all day. It's like way beyond his sleep schedule. Like, if fatigue is an issue, I mean, this is the time it will be an issue. So
I'm not sure that play actually was the one that mattered though the most, because if you think about it, like Forsen still killed him with like 3 or 4 extra damage done, right? The double fireball. So I think, but I do understand what you're making though. Like the fact that fatigue might be a factor. Like D2, he's playing slower. He's trying to think about everything through, but it's almost time for him to grab lunch, and he started way like just after midnight. So the dude's been playing a long time, but at least he's still in the top 3, which is going to be fun to see tomorrow.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that does it for us here. Once more to just recap how the bracket's looking so far. We had Number Guy and Forsen advance from the top half, and then Lothar and D2. But then D2 and Forsen were the ones who went to the winners finals. D2 will await everybody else battling out their losers. That's Hit Girl, Hyped, Strife Crow, and RDU, already a star-studded cast. And that's all going to be happening tomorrow at the same exact time at 1800 Central European time on Sunday, guys. So make sure, again, it's going to be on this channel. Stay tuned for that. And as well, you want to have any last words, Admirable, before we wrap up day number 1?
Absolutely. If you guys have any feedback, feel free to tweet at us at Frodan and at That's Admirable. You can hit us up there. And also any feedback, make sure you leave it for Battle of the Best.